we're going over some of the things that are being said by Barack Obama Jr. And because they're still bringing up this stupid marathon time with
ridiculous
with Paul Ryan, and
from
they're saying,
22 years ago.
You're a numbers guy. You should know this, right? A numbers guy, and you're a sports guy. Well, isn't Barack Obama supposedly one of the greatest sports fans, Chicago sports fans ever of all time? I mean, let's just talk about how the guy doesn't know any sports. Don't get me wrong. Barack Obama didn't grow up in the United States. His father never watched sports on TV. I'm not a sports guy. I don't try to pretend I'm a sports guy. I don't know anything about it. But what little I do know, I learned from my father being there and being with my father when he would watch sports. So I at least know some of that. Barack Obama, this is just another example of him not being like us. He's not, and there's nothing wrong with that, but he's just not, he doesn't have the American heritage that we all have. He didn't go to 4th of July celebrations when he was a kid.
Yeah, and you're not saying this as a negative. I think it's a strength of his personal story to overcome those things.
Just clarify. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, show you if this is who you grew up as, you didn't watch American sports, you didn't go to 4th of July, you would have a deficit to make up. Now, you could either embrace that and say, look, I never went to a 4th of July thing. I didn't watch football with my dad. I'm not a sports fan. And you could try to be honest about it, or you could so look down on the American people and say, well, they're never going to accept me because I'm different. And so I've got to fill in all of that. And you'd make stuff up. I contend that's exactly what he did. Listen just to these sports fan segments here.
Living close to what was then Kaminsky Park, and went to a couple games and just fell in love. And the nice thing about the Sox is it's real blue-collar baseball.
And, of course, it's not Kaminsky. It's Comiskey.
I do think that there's a different quality to what used to be Kaminsky Field versus Wrigley.
Okay. There he goes, Kaminsky Field versus Wrigley.
Now see,
Comiskey Park.
I thought it was Kaminsky. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's Comiskey.
And Field, Park, wouldn't know which one.
But this is
But a
supposedly
sports fan would. That's the difference.
And especially
from Chicago.
Yeah, a guy whose favorite team plays at that field. You don't know the name of it?
Correct.
Come on.
I thought...
Oh, here he's asked by Rob Dibble, famous ex-baseball, Major League Baseball pitcher, to name his favorite White Sox player.
I thought that, the truth is that a lot of the Cubs I like too. But I did not become a Sox fan until I moved to Chicago.
He can't name a single player. Not one. In fact, instead, he goes to
Cubs.
Well, I like the Cubs too. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, name me one of those. Then he goes on to name the Oakland Athletics because he grew up in Hawaii. Well, name me one of those because there's quite a few pretty prominent and famous, I don't know, Hall of Fame Oakland Athletic players.
Let me see if I could do what? Jose Canseco? Was he?
He was a little later era, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only one I can actually pull out. I mean, I can at least pull one out.
To me, this is the most egregious because apparently, supposedly, he's a huge basketball fan, right? I mean, they get him to pick the brackets every year for the NCAA. He always has the sports teams. I mean, he plays basketball. And listen to this.
World champion Miami Heats.
Miami Heats.
No sports fan.
Okay.
So calls them the wrong name.
Because I would disagree and say that's not the most egregious. The other one from the great state of Pennsylvania would have to be, to me, the most, because it's so... it's just so crazy.
The only reason why
Penn State right here. Nittany Lions.
The Nittany Lions. You think that's worse than the Heats?
I think it is.
It's pretty bad.
Okay, so the only reason why we're bringing this up is because this guy is a complete and total fraud. Mm-hmm. He is not who he says he is. And it's not just about sports. It's about everything. Play the flag draped coffin. The press wants to pay attention to Paul Ryan and the stupid marathon time.
Mm-hmm.
when they won't look into something like this. Listen carefully to this.
It's the founding ideals that the flag draped over my father's coffin stand for.
Excuse me?
Okay, you're talking about American values, and your father, who's buried in Kenya.
He had an American flag. He hated America.
Come on.
He had an American flag draped over his coffin in Kenya.
Nobody
for
asks.
what?
Nobody asks.
He didn't serve in the military of the United States of America. Did he love America so much he hated it? Did he have such a passion against this country that he wanted to make sure that it was touching the ground and under the ground while he was buried? What was the reason for having a flag over your father's coffin? Just remember, the Supreme Court just was asked to rule on faking any kind of military service. Here's the commander-in-chief using a flag-draped coffin on a easily verifiable lie. And what happens? Nothing. They don't even look into it. But Paul Ryan's a numbers guy. 22 years ago, he got that marathon time wrong. And there's something that we should look into because that's not right.
And now, another moment in the life of Barack Obama.
I couldn't croon like Marvin Gaye, but I could learn to dance all the Soul Train steps. I couldn't pack a gun like Shaft or Superfly, but I could sure enough curse like Richard Pryor. And I could play basketball with a consuming passion that would always exceed my limited talent. I was living out a caricature of black male adolescence, itself a caricature of swaggering American manhood.
This has been Barack Obama with another moment in the life of Barack Obama on the Glenn Beck program.
No, come on. He's a sports
I've seen
guy.
him play basketball.
No, he
doesn't play basketball that well.
No, he can play basketball.
He doesn't even know the name
Yes,
of the
he
world
does.
champion Miami Heat. I mean, the guy is a fraud start to finish.
No, listen to me.
A fraud.
He lived in Chicago, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, he lived in Chicago.
He knows White Sox players. He knows them.
Yeah.
Got 103.
No.
Yes, he does. He does.
Kind of not. Here, he was asked who his favorite White Sox player was.
I thought that, the truth is that a lot of the Cubs I like too. But I did not become a Sox fan until I moved to Chicago.
Can't name one.
Okay, all right.
Can't name
Okay,
one.
but he knows the name of the park.
Well,
Close to what was then Kaminsky Park, right? And went to a couple games and just fell in love. And the nice thing about the Sox is it's real blue-collar baseball.
okay, Kaminsky Park. It's Comiskey. It's Comiskey.
Okay, but come on.
Can't even get the name of his favorite park right.
What?
Can't even get the name of the actual
But you
stadium.
can't give me any other. You can't give me any other example.
Well, let's
other
see.
than
The
that.
Penn State. Do you even maybe this is not a good test.
No, this is not a good
Do you think
test.
this is not a good test?
It's unfair.
All right.
No, well,
But,
go for
I
it.
mean, this will prove that he's got about the sports knowledge of Glenn Beck, and we all know how bad that is. Do you know the name of the Penn State, the nickname of the
the motor
sports?
oils.
no, you don't. Okay.
That's what I thought.
No, it's
but
the
neither
Quaker
does
states.
he. You did just as well as he did. Who said this?
Penn State right here, Nittany Lions.
The Nittany, the Penn State Nittany Lions.
That one's awesome.
Okay, it's
What-
Nittany for those in the know.
Okay.
Nittany Lions and the world champion. Who?
World champion Miami Heats.
Miami Heats.
You didn't even include the Wrigley's Field that just came down the other day.
No, I was just looking for that. I couldn't.
I don't know why you
find
say
the
this guy
Wrigley's.
is a fraud.
A total fraud.
I don't-
A total fraud. Throws like a girl. He took, 8 shots to hit one bucket the other day, or this was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now. But they showed one of the shots where he made the basket to make it look like, oh, look at this. He just took a jumper and hit it. Yeah, after about 18, he finally hit one. He goes out to throw out the first pitch, and he doesn't do that anymore, by the way, you notice, because he's been exposed. The guy can't even throw a baseball.
He didn't grow up around it.
I know it.
I mean, remember, the guy didn't go. I mean,
But he's
I find
supposed to be this
atten-
amazing sports fanatic and fan and
He's
athlete,
supposed
and he's
to be
not.
a god.
Yeah, and he's
I mean, they've painted him as anything, but he is not. Look, there's no reason to suspect that he's anything like you based on just this one fact. He never went to 4th of July parades or fireworks shows. I keep coming back to that because some of my initial feelings about America come from 4th of July parades, Memorial Day parades, seeing all of that stuff. He didn't see any of it. He didn't watch any of the shows that we watched growing up on television. He didn't watch John Wayne with his grandfather. He didn't see the history of America unfold in his own family. He didn't. And so we expect him to be like us. There's no way he could possibly be like us.